What's up, everyone? Mr. Anime Random here with the Random Anime Podcast. I have a very interesting group of people here to talk about Pokemon. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of the generations of Pokemon from the very first gen all the way up to current. Talk about the video games, the card games, you name it. We're going to be talking about it in this episode. So stay tuned. For my crew today, I have Nate
Konnichiwa.
and Star
What's up?
and James
Hey.
and Ricky.
Hell yeah.
All right, so Pokemon, we're going to be talking about everything under the sun, Pokemon, especially since we have new game that came out, which I think is pretty awesome. I didn't play it yet, but I've seen a lot of people play it. Hype is real, definitely. But I'm sure all of you, as well as myself, have played some of the original on the Game Boy.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of
Now,
course.
I'm gonna start off with James because I know James at one of his birthdays, maybe more, had a Pokemon themed birthday with a cake that was a Pokemon. Which Pokemon was that?
It was a Poliwhirl cake.
There
Sir,
you
when I
go.
was 6, my 6th birthday back in the day.
Hey, can't complain about that.
No.
So with all of that, all right. So we know that since you were very young, you've had a fascination for Pokemon, and I know you still do.
Oh, of course.
What is the first thing that you remember about Pokemon? Like, what was the first thing that got you into Pokemon? Was it the games? Was it the trading cards? Was it the show? What was it?
I mean, really, I was around since the beginning, so it was kind of like everything came out of nowhere, you know? It was like, oh, here's Pokemon. And then it was like, here's the anime. Here's the game. Here's the card game. Here's this. Here's that. Oh, here's my friend and my other friend and all my friends playing it. And, it's the whole thing. It was like the whole 9 yards. You know, I got like it was like my birthday and I got the trading card game and then I got the game and I was watching all the episodes and I was like every Saturday morning, like getting all excited, like, oh, Pokemon's on! Pokemon's on! Oh my gosh, it's 8 a.m. Pokemon's on! Ah! My mom's like, you still watching Pokemon? I'm like, yes, I'm watching Pokemon.
Yeah, no, it's spread all throughout the world very quick, and with another person in our crew right now, Ricky, I'm sure you can attest to that being across the pond.
Yeah, that's totally true. Like, I remember seeing Pokemon, I was about 6. The first episode I remember seeing is the one with Ghastly Hunter and Gengar. It was on TV. I went to school the next day, told all my friends, like, I didn't even know what it was though. I was like, I seen this show and it was a yellow thing and there was ghosts and the lad died and all this, and they thought I was mental, but I was like, no, it's the best thing ever. And then next week later they all came in and they all saw it and they all caught up with it, and I got the Game Boy games for Christmas in '99. My first one was Pokemon Blue, and I was really good at the games. It's probably the only thing in school I was ever good at, and the only thing I ever got other kids coming up asking me help for was the Pokemon games. For some reason, I was always ahead of them. But yeah, Pokemon's been a part of my childhood, and it's basically never left except for like the third gen because I know I thought I was done with it, but then once the DS came out, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not done with this, and I'm just obsessed ever since.
Yeah, it's crazy how many people it's gone to and the craze of it. I know I can't even remember exactly when I got into it, but I was really young, and I'm sure Star, you were the same kind of way with it too, where it got introduced to you, right?
Yeah, like when it came out in the 90s, it was huge. Everyone was like all hyped up about red and blue, so I ended up getting both. And then when yellow came out, I had to have that one. So first generation was just more of where I went with it because it was like all the classics and where it all started.
All the classic 151. Hey, can't go wrong with
The
that.
original
Oh, yeah, it's
151,
good.
man.
That's the best.
Is it the best? I don't know.
Now, Nate, for
Yeah.
you, did you ever have any trading cards
I
that?
actually,
Go ahead.
I have all 151 first edition um, cards from the first generation.
So you
It's still in
you
my closet.
so you still have a Charizard,
I
Charizard,
do. I have a first edition Charizard, mint condition.
and it's a real one too.
I hope so.
I remember that when we were kids. I mean, we were bad too. When you would go ahead and have a fake card, you would try to ditch it on
Yeah.
like the next kid, But
It took me a while to get all those cards and a lot of money.
yeah.
So
No, I remember dumping a lot of money and begging my
I
parents.
actually got
take
into the
card store.
cards before the show. And then
Yeah.
after the cards, I just went to the show and I was like, oh, this look pretty cool. And then I went to the games and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I went to Nintendo GameCube and I was like, oh, I'll get a game for this too. Oh yeah, well, let's go.
Yeah, I think the first thing I started off with was I think it was the games. But I remember having trading cards when I was really young and watching the show, and unfortunately I lost my Game Boy Pocket on an airplane with Pokemon Yellow. I'll never forget that.
Oh man.
Sucks. Really, really, really freaking bad. I had my Game Boy Pocket with my with Pokemon Yellow, lost it.
Well, okay, here's my little story about Pokemon Yellow. When I was younger, my sister was a little younger than me, and she stole my Pokemon Yellow version and deleted it. So I have no idea what that team was, and I'm always like, I was a little sad that I just don't have that team. Whatever that team was, but I don't know what I raised. I don't know anything. It was her first Pokemon game though, so I'm gonna give her a pass. But
Well,
I was just like, still like, oh, okay.
that's
So,
okay. I
It
mean,
is, but
see, I think with Pokemon, it's been around for a very long time, and the appeal to it, and with the amount of controversies that Pokemon has always had ever since the beginning, has drawn multiple people into the whole entire fan base, and we're all in our 20s, 30s, and I think that it shows that it's lasted quite some time. And speaking of having some of our favorites, let's get into our favorite Pokemon. So I'm just gonna go ahead and name you guys out, and you just give me what your favorite Pokemon is. If you have multiple, you could say multiple, but at least one. So I'll start with you, Ricky. What's one of your favorite Pokemon from
Um,
any gen?
like I go through a lot of favorites, but my favorite as a kid was probably like something really. I think it was Gengar, but my favorite now is Azumarill. Azumarill's been my favorite for a long, long time now, just because it's cute, but it's also strong, and it looks like it would make a cool pet.
Yeah. Okay. I I respect the choice. How about you, Star? What's your favorite?
Um, I would probably say Clefairy just because it was so cute and the way that it talked was just so adorable, and it was psychic. So like I every time I had a game, I had to have a Clefairy, and I always made it like level 100, and it was my OG go-to.
I'm surprised you wouldn't pick like Mew.
Mew because it's a cat.
cat
Got it.
fetus. It's a cat fetus, technically. Really, if you look
Ew.
at it.
But 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 Mew is super popular and powerful, rare. So I figured that would be, a go-to. But I respect the choice. I respect the choice. How about you, James? I'm dying to hear what your favorite is.
Okay, there's a nice collective that I have of like favorite Pokemon.
I know you got
Obviously.
like probably like 500.
Oh,
that are-
obviously I have so many different ones like depending on the region and stuff.
Let's
I'll
let's
like
let's just say I'll
okay, I'll
cut
just I'll
you.
just I'll just say I'll just no, I'm gonna say three. I'll say three. That'll be fine. Um it's like Feraligatr, Electivire, and I think Corviknight swooped in for one of the tops now. So
Okay. Do you
yeah,
do you have any that are from Gen 1 that are your favorite?
Gen 1. I was always a Squirtle like trainer. So I always
My
went for
man.
Blastoise.
Okay.
Every time. Honestly,
Okay.
I will say like every game I've chosen water type except for Gen 7. And when I started Gen 7, my starter was Rowlet and it was a shiny straight up.
What?
I turned on the game and it was a shiny Rowlet and I was like, "Oh, oh, it's Robin Hood. He's shiny. I love it." I was like, "Oh, that's fine. I won't cheat. I'm not. Yeah." So I had a shiny Rowlet, and then I had Litten too, because I was like, "I'm gonna raise both of them." So I had, yeah. But that was the only time I ever chose out of the water. I like didn't choose water because I didn't like it.
And how about you, Nate? What was your favorite Pokemon?
I would say my favorite Pokemon would have to be Jinx.
Jinx. Jinx is a good one.
She's so mesmerizing.
Jinx is a very
Edgy. It's edgy.
unique choice.
It's
Um,
edgy. It's an edgy. Yes, Jinx
an
is an
edgy
edgy
Pokemon.
choice.
I think of
see,
it as a
with you, Nate, it doesn't surprise me because you like controversy, and Jinx is one of those controversial Pokemon.
At least he didn't say smooch him.
Jinx is like the Kim
Oh,
Kardashian of
God.
Pokemon.
I mean, it is based on what? What is that? What is the thing it's based on? Those...
Blackface.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's not based on that. It's just
I mean,
kind
now
of
it's purple. They changed it to purple, so it's not so bad.
Well, but the big lips, the
Yeah.
That's the best
completely
part.
dark skin, everything else, and
Nate, you're disgusting. You're
Yeah,
that was
absolutely
just kind of tragic.
Nate,
What do
you
you mean?
are a
What?
horrible human being.
You are so gross. Nasty.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Oh, okay.
You're like, I
All
love
right,
the lips. Oh god.
and for me, I honestly I like I'll say two different Pokemon. One Pokemon I do like is Lugia, and then the other one I do like Pikachu. Okay, because Pikachu is just since yellow. I mean, you can't go wrong with that one. I would say, do I have any other ones? No, I mean everybody goes ahead and says the rarest of the rare Pokemon, but to me, those two are actually pretty cool. I like them a lot.
In
Yeah.
yellow, I always used Pikachu to get Bulbasaur, and then I boxed it every time because
Yep.
Bulbasaur is my favorite starter.
Now,
There you go.
now, funny, quick little story. There was a time which I wish I had my game still, but I think it was Pokemon Red. I was playing, I got up to the Elite Four, which, if any of you are listening, you don't know what the Elite Four was. That's kind of like the end of the
Yeah,
game.
I remember.
You take your Pokemon, you go through, and you're essentially just going through four different trainers, trying to beat all of their Pokemon, and I believe every single one has six Pokemon, so you got to make sure that you knock all of them out. And I had like level 90 Charizard, level 9 or 90, like whatever maxed out is. I forget what number it is,
100.
either 90 or 99 or whatever. 100?
100, yeah.
100. So I had 100 Charizard. I had level 100 Blastoise. I had a level 100. So I had like level 100, like everything, like beast everything, right? And the only way that I was able to beat all of the Elite Four, and true story, I wish I could prove it, is with Metapod, and the only thing that I was able to do was harden. That was it. So I just kept doing harden, 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 and then the opponent could not attack, and then eventually, all of a sudden, the Pokemon just kept getting weaker and weaker, and then eventually fainted. And then it was like one by one, all of the other Pokemon just kept fainting and everything else. So all my other Pokemon got eliminated, got fainted and everything else. But my stupid freaking Metapod beat all of the Elite Four with Harden. That was it. It was nuts. Um, yeah. So I want to also go into with Pokemon, talk about some of the fun little things about Pokemon. Like, have you guys ever heard of the myth of the truck
Oh,
in
Mew under the truck.
Mew under the truck? And
I actually
everybody was
didn't hear that rumor a lot
Yeah,
later
I
till
haven't heard
I
that
seen
either.
it
You
on the
want to explain
internet.
that?
everybody thought that there was a truck. I think it was right near Cinnabar Island
Yeah.
or
No, it was
No, Vermilion.
St. Anne.
Vermilion City.
Vermilion. Was
Yeah.
it Vermilion?
I think it
Yeah,
was
Vermilion City.
Vermilion City.
And that if you found a way to move the truck underneath, there was going to be a Pokeball that had, what was it, Mew or
Yeah, it was
Mewtwo
Mew.
underneath.
No, it was Mew.
Underneath
It
it.
was Mew
It was
because
Mew,
Mewtwo you caught in Cerulean Cave.
right in the
I do
cave.
believe.
Yeah, I remember that one. That's where I used my Master Ball. Bam, and then I got it. And that
I
was
always
Bam.
I always caught
Just
it in a
like that.
Pokeball, so I don't know.
yeah. But yeah, no, there was that one, and I'm sure Star, you know about the whole catching of Missing No.
Of course, where you get glitched and whatever item, like your fifth or sixth, like duplicates or whatever. I did that with rare
Yeah.
candies all the time.
Everybody did it with rare candy, Master Balls. Those were like the biggest things that people
I
did.
I had a Pikachu harem going on one time.
Uh,
Strange.
really?
Yeah, I had all Pikachu. I had like 100 of them.
You would.
Especially since a harem. He would definitely call it a harem too.
Yeah,
Oh, I have
I
Pikachu harem. Oof.
The other thing that I know was big with Pokemon is,
Snorlax.
well, besides Snorlax being just big in general, but the rumor about, I guess it was what, the green version of Pokemon, the one that was like the Japanese version. If you went to, what city was it? The music,
Oh, Lavender Town.
caused, what was it?
Lavender
Lavender
Town.
Town.
Lavender Town,
The ghost. Ghosty ghost.
where the music caused kids to be suicidal.
Yeah.
It's crazy
Mm.
what Pokemon stuff have come about. And I'm sure the biggest theory, which I'm going to be asking James about this. What do you feel about? And I'm going to say one word, and I'm sure you're going to know exactly what theory I'm talking about with Pokemon.
Okay.
Coma.
Oh no.
What, the Ash Coma Theory? Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Where it's like, oh, Ash has been in a coma this whole time. After the first episode, he was electrocuted, and now that's why he doesn't age, and that's why he keeps going through journey after journey, and it's just like, I'm happy all the time. Yes, it's great. Yeah.
Well, and Star, I'm sure could maybe back me up a little bit on this, but there's all having so many freaking Nurse Joys everywhere and Officer Jenny's every single where kind of explains that, and then it explains a lot of different things.
I remember the theory when it had first come out of like why it was like that. And if I remember right, they were saying like Brock was supposed to be like his father that left him, like a father figure, and Misty was actually supposed to be like the girl he wanted when he got older to marry or something like that.
Yeah. It's a lot of weird
And
stuff.
it was like it was this huge conspiracy theory. Low key, I honestly believe it because
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
Makes
I
sense.
believe it.
tense ever.
I believe it. I believe it to an extent, and I think
Ugh.
Ricky, maybe you believe it to an extent as well, right?
No, I think he was in a coma. It's all a dreams, are like the laziest kind of fan theories anyone can come up with. Like,
Yeah, but Ash never ages
so does
ever.
Bart Simpson. Does that mean he's in a coma?
No, he's
Bart
aged.
Simpson's in a coma.
He's aged. He might be in a coma, but no, I think it has some merit, some some form of truth because maybe the creators were a little bit lazy and not giving Ash any type of birthdays or anything to kind of
His
show that
canon
he's
birthday is April the 1st.
yeah,
You would know that.
that would be
There
Well,
would
the
be
thing
some.
about
now.
it is that essentially, like the show is directly straight for kids. So when the creators were actually designing the show in the beginning, they were directing it towards a certain age market, which capped out at like 14,
Right.
essentially.
But
So
same
when they
thing happened on
realized,
SpongeBob.
well, yeah, but like what I'm saying is like when they decided to go forward with that, they realized that that age market was was making this show super popular. So they kept targeting it towards that area and maintained that popularity with that age market. Of course, the older people who had started in the first gen are going to stay with the franchise because, we grew up with it. But essentially, they were targeting it towards just between like, 1 to 13. So that's why they were stating that Ash never ages because they wanted to keep him in the same age market as other kids that they're targeting.
Yeah, well, it's good when you have all these different things. It's just to me, it's funny how you have all these days go by, and yet he never ages ever.
I
So
mean, technically, in the first season, there is a year that passes from like the start of his journey to the end, and I feel like I don't know. I'm not sure if there is, but there might be episodes where he has had birthdays. I don't know, but it's like if you think about it, he should age. So maybe one day they will finally like show that for the fans that have been since the beginning. That's my hope. Finally, they will show that.
yeah, no, that'll definitely be nice. I I think that Pokemon is definitely evolving. I don't discredit them for creating all these new Pokemon, but and maybe you'll agree with me, James and Ricky, because you guys have played a lot of the games and seen a lot more of the new Pokemon, more so than I have. Um, but
I haven't seen much.
right, so this is why I'm kind of directing it over to James and Ricky a little bit. So I want to know you guys' opinion. Do you guys think that they create maybe too many Pokemon, that some of them are they should get like a little bit more time and create more interesting Pokemon? Like instead of saying, "Oh, here's a pig, oh, new Pokemon. Here's a an owl, new Pokemon." Like, "Oh, look, there's a pair of scissors. Here's a Pokemon." Like that's just kind of what it seems like they're doing. Like they're just
I
looking
mean,
No, I don't agree with that really.
and they are starting to realize things like they with Gen 8, there's only 430 or 40 Pokemon, like 440 Pokemon that you can catch in the game. And people are upset about that because they want to catch them all. But now the Pokemon company's like, well, we have so many Pokemon, we're only going to put so many in. And then they made 100, just about. They made 91, I think, new Pokemon for this game.
right.
Um, so they are starting to like adjust it, and I mean,
Like I don't mind them having a whole bunch of Pokemon and keep creating more. It just seems like there's some Pokemon that there was no creative work put into it, where
yeah,
they're just like they just spun around the room and was like, "Oh, paperclip, let's make that a Pokemon."
Well,
let's
yeah, there's
do
You
a
it.
know?
few
There it
Pokemon I
is.
don't like. Like I don't like Mr. Mime, but other people like Mr. Mime, so why not?
I love that Mr. Mime isn't really a mime. It's great.
All
Yeah.
right.
Um, but
But
yeah,
I
I
feel
mean
like each
that's
generation as well has, its fair share of duds and good ones. Like I wouldn't necessarily say there is a best generation or they're running out of ideas or anything. Like I think that's the one thing that's been keeping the whole franchise fresh is that every, I don't know, 3 or 4 or so years they managed to come out with roughly, I don't know, since like the DS era it's like 60-ish Pokemon really they have
I
each gen.
mean Gen 5 they had 150 or something
Yeah,
like
and they'll
that.
probably never do something like that again, sadly.
I
But that was
mean,
really
they
interesting.
no, honestly though, I feel like they could. Maybe like for like Gen 5, like Gen 10, like kind of like, oh, here's Gen 10. We're gonna have a little soft reset. I don't know. I mean, they're trying new things like with the anime they're doing all around the world where, Ash goes around the world with his friend and they
With
like
his
catch all the
posse.
Pokemon. No, it's
Yeah,
just literally, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but he's gonna meet all his old friends and all his old Pokemon and stuff. So
Now, right, yeah, no, it's just an interesting perspective just want to hear because my whole thought is because I've been into Yu-Gi-Oh, I've been into Magic the Gathering, I've been into whole bunch of these trading card games. I think that uh, I don't know if they're kind of forcing it, but they realize that they have to put some quote unquote junk Pokemon or filler Pokemon
yeah.
and then put some like decent Pokemon and then the really epic or the rare Pokemon in so that way it keeps the trading card game going, it keeps the Pokemon games like the video games going, it keeps all that stuff going and then it kind of does the filler. To me it just kind of seems like I understand that the marketing strategy behind it, it just seems kind of just some of the Pokemon I feel just could be developed just a little bit better.
Why don't we
That's
talk
all.
about how they won't go back like to an older generation and go from where they left off? Like if they went back to Generation 1, I mean, they would make a lot of money.
they've done that like a million times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
No, I mean
honestly,
like
honestly, the next
from
gen
the
that
beginning.
they should go back to is Gen 4 because they've already done, remakes of Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3, and that's what people are thinking that they might be working on as the next game, which would be really good because
Yeah, I
Wait,
could
they
see
did a
that
remake
happening.
of Gen 1?
yeah,
yeah,
Fire Red, Leaf Green, yeah.
Oh yeah, let's go Pikachu. They've done John one a million times now, man.
they've done Gen 1 quite a bit of times.
And
So
people
Oh,
are like,
I
okay,
thought you meant,
fan
like
stops.
in the
I
show. Like they
no,
recycled Gen 1 for the show.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about
I
too.
mean
They did that
they did do it
Pokemon.
for a
What was
movie.
it?
Yeah,
Origins, wasn't it?
they
No,
did
no,
Pokemon
no.
Origins, and then they did the
Pokemon
movie.
Origins was not Gen 1.
It
It
was
was
it
like
was Red and Blue.
Ash. It was following Red.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was still that was based off the Red and Blue games though, like, and that's Gen 1.
I mean, not really. There was like well, yeah. It started with that, and then.
I'm talking about like the original 151.
yeah,
But
Uh,
see that you have to think about this like too. There's a lot of fan hate for that because they keep bringing Pokemon back. Like Charizard just got the new form
yeah, but
again.
isn't Gen 1 like the most money they've ever made in a series?
Yeah, but like it's getting very old now at this stage where we keep seeing Charizard and Meowth and Eevee and Pikachu.
I mean,
They're
that's what
all
they did.
time.
They did. They gave literally Meowth, Pikachu, Charizard, and Eevee new forms, and everyone's like, what about this Pokemon? What about this Pokemon? Oh, you're not going to give this Pokemon any love. You're not going to give this Pokemon any love. And then it's like,
well,
oh, Gengar too,
I
Machamp.
think
Plus
see
series.
I think with
Gilbert.
at least with Eevee, it makes sense having the different type of
And
evolutions.
Eevee's the new he's like they're both Pikachu and Eevee are now like the main Pokemon of the franchise. Like
And
they're
and Eevee is one of those Pokemon that you feel, and I'm sure you guys all will agree with me on this one. Eevee is the Pokemon where if let's say we're in the Pokeverse, like if the Pokeverse was real, you would feel the most you would feel bad for Eevee the most because everybody would capture Eevee to transform it into something else. They wouldn't care about Eevee.
very
They would
true.
care about all of the other versions of Eevee except for Eevee itself.
Yeah, but Eevee's evolutions are way cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all right. So think about it. You wouldn't sympathize with Eevee at all. You would be
Eevee
like, all
wouldn't
right,
care. It's getting turned into something cooler
Yeah,
itself.
it's gonna be like an Umbreon, which is amazing.
or Flareon or Jolteon or yeah, a whole bunch of other ones. Now, Star, do you have a favorite evolution of Eevee?
I don't remember the name of it, but It's like
Describe it.
What
it's
type is
pink.
it? Oh, Sylveon?
Espeon.
Sylveon.
Espeon?
Espeon.
Espeon,
It's
yeah,
Espeon.
there you go.
Espeon's purple
Yeah.
with the red jewel. So.
Oh, I don't know.
It looks pink to me. I'm colorblind, so don't judge me.
Wow.
Shiny is cool. It has a green shiny.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful shiny.
I'm not really colorblind.
Don't lie.
Ah,
It just
right in the
looks
heart.
pink. It's like a
Okay.
lavender.
Now the last thing I wanted to go ahead and discuss for this Pokemon episode is they've done the video games with on Game Boy, on you know, on the different Nintendo consoles. They've done Pokemon trading cards. They've done the anime show. They've done movies, several. And then they're moving to the mobile, with Pokemon Go. That's been out for a few years now. And do you see any other direction that Pokemon can pretty much go that it hasn't gone yet? So I'll start off with you, James. Is there any other things that Pokemon can move into that would be different than what they've done in the past or currently doing?
Oh man,
It's a tough one. It's a very tough question,
it
but
is. It is a tough question.
it's kind of like we're predicting the future. We're as the Pokemon community right now, we're trying to predict where Pokemon could go.
Honestly, I could see like someday when we have the virtual reality technologies to like I know Pokemon Go exists, but like a new version of Pokemon Go where you're like, walking around and the Pokemon are like actually, running around like in the world. I feel like that could eventually happen, maybe. I don't know. Like,
I'm thinking we could have, because I think the evolution of technology is we obviously have the technology in our hand, right? And then I think the next step is having a holographic
Mm.
technology
Like Yu-Gi-Oh.
where,
Kinda did that
Yeah.
with the 3DS.
I
where
mean, they
we
did,
have
but
that.
like full scale,
Yeah, full scale. They attack
You're
each
like
other.
looking out to the world and it's like, oh man, whoa.
Let's go get
And
them.
then I'm sure, I mean, what is the Pokemon Go considered? It's
Game.
no, not a game. It's um some sort
Augmented
of
reality.
augmented reality. So
Yeah.
you have like augmented reality, then it would be holographic reality. Now, virtual reality, I don't see that as mobile yet. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I
if
meant
they
that
No.
later.
fix like Google Glasses or some sort of technology like that, then you can technically have like virtual reality of Pokemon. And then I think then the next step would be like immersive reality,
Mm.
where
Sort of online
if
shit.
if you guys have ever gone to, they're called like the 4D or 10D or whatever they're D.
10D.
Yeah,
Whatever D.
whatever, like where you go to like a movie and it's like you're on a boat and then all of a
Oh,
sudden
4D.
they like splash you with water and then they make the chairs vibrate underneath you if it was like, like the boat was shaking, or like they're making you feel as if you're a part of that world as much as possible.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that at some point in time, if it's not being worked on already, that they're gonna have it to where, like, if you do Pokemon battles or something, where you're gonna feel some sort of residual of the attack or the battles that are happening. Like, you're not gonna get like electrocuted by like a Pikachu, but you'll feel like wind happening if it was like a wind attack, or some sort of way where water gets like splashed on you or something, like if it was like a what something to that effect. just
Like a
just
ride.
imagine, just think about that, like in the palm of your hands, some sort of like immersive reality of that sort. I think that's where Pokemon could end up being, and I think that would actually be pretty cool.
Oh, it could be.
Yeah, that would be cool.
What do you think about that, Star? If we had immersive reality?
Um, I think it would be interesting, but I don't think Pokemon would get that far.
I mean, we're talking about if technology
20 years.
develops for it to be that kind of way, we don't know. Nobody knows. Even the people who are running Pokemon as a business, they don't even know where the full direction is going to go because, things could change it, at an instant. So, this is just us kind of trying to
Imagine if there were real gyms around the world. Oh my god.
see that would be freaking cool.
It really would be. Yeah.
James would be the first one. He would be like one of those that
Gotta
waits
collect
like
those badges.
2 weeks in line with a tent and everything.
I'd make a
You
YouTube
know.
video. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm the first in line for this gym, yo.
And it's Brock. Oh god.
I can
And Brock
imagine.
appears, I'm like,
I can imagine you doing that though.
I would not. It's something I would, yeah.
All right, so I think we covered a decent amount of Pokemon. We wanted to cover enough to kind of get everybody's feet wet and just be nostalgic and talk about a whole bunch of things Pokemon universe wise. So let us know in the comments below who your favorite Pokemon is. What are some of different fan theories you've heard, different rumors, different type of Pokemon games and trading cards and all that different stuff that you've had in the past. Post that all in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up button because it shows that you guys have enjoyed this podcast. Also, hit that subscribe and the bell icon. It will give you notifications on when a new podcast episode will be coming out. And as always, guys, deuces up.
All right. See you guys later.
Peace.
Later.
Go
Bye.
home.